We are leaving the dock. What time is it? 8:45.
It was one of those picture-perfect days that reminds you exactly why you own a boat. Flat water, beautiful weather, no reason to think anything was about to go wrong. Then 12 nautical miles from the marina, one engine quit. And that was just the beginning. In this video, we take you through the aftermath, troubleshooting on the water, replacing a failed fuel pump, polishing the fuel, installing a new battery charger, removing the oil tanks, and digging into the kind of dirty bilge cleanup every boat owner knows is waiting sooner or later. This is real boat ownership.
Okay, so I want to talk really quick about what happened when this starboard engine died on us. Sort of the troubleshooting that we did while we were out on the water, and then some of the stuff we did shoreside before we got to the point where I've called the Yamaha certified technician to come over and help us out. So the first thing we did was to check the water separators. There was a little bit of water in the bottom, but I don't know if it was enough to have affected the way the engine was operating. We did check the fuel bulb to make sure it was particularly soft. So we knew we had some kind of a fuel restriction for the engine, but we were unable to get it to restart while we were underway. So what they'll tell you in your operator's manual is if you're traveling back to the dock on one engine, you should trim up the engine that is not being used, because otherwise it's just causing drag and you could be forcing salt water into a system that doesn't want it because it's not running. So we trimmed this engine up, we motored back on one. When we got back to the dock, we did more troubleshooting, which included checking the fuel filter on the front of the engine, making sure there was no water in there. There was none. And then again, back with the fuel bulb, I've tried putting a fuel pump on there. I got fuel to the fuel bulb itself, but couldn't really maintain pressure. So we think we might have a fuel problem somewhere between the tank and the fuel bulb, but we're having a Yamaha technician come over because we want to make sure that the fuel pump itself is working correctly. We did turn on the key and hear the fuel actuator, the fuel pump actuating. You could hear it trying to pull pressure. So that was good, but also we're not keeping fuel flowing consistently to the engine. So either way, we're going to have them look at that with us. But also something strange about this, and we're coming to you guys as some fellow curious boaters, experienced boaters, maybe experts, is when we bought this boat, the guy sold it to us, said the hour meter on the Yamaha gauges is not correct. It reads like 196 hours, but these engines are 10 years old, so they definitely have more than that. So we're having the technician come over to read the computer on the engine and tell us how many hours we actually have. So we're gonna diagnose the fuel restriction. We're gonna read the hours on the meter, on the engine, hopefully get our meter reading correctly so we know where we're at in our maintenance cycle. And then third is just to look these over. They'll be our local Yamaha technicians that will call when we have problems that are beyond our skill level. And we want to have them take a look at these engines and tell us what they think. We're looking forward to that meeting or that appointment, and we'll let you guys know how it goes.
How did we end up here?
How do we end up here? We have had some fuel problems with our starboard engine, and through all the diagnostic and getting a little bit of professional help, we realized we have got water in the fuel, which is a common problem. Definitely happens for a bunch of different reasons we're not going to talk about right now, but what we do know is that the fuel in this tank has been problematic. We don't know any of the history of whether the tanks have ever been cleaned. We do know that the water separators that are installed have been overworked at this point. We've found water and debris in the filters at the engine. What we're gonna do is open up the fuel sending units for each of these tanks, both the auxiliary and the main. What we're gonna do is, this is a portable fuel transfer pump. Thank you, Vanna. This fuel transfer pump is gonna pull fuel from the tank through this Raycor filter right here, which should separate out the debris and the water. And we'll see it show up in the bowl like these would normally operate. But we can monitor it as it comes out. And so now Mel is showing you where this fuel pump came with this really cool device here. You can see it's got a piece of wire built into it, and it has a little roller at the bottom, which is gonna, once we crack open the fuel sending unit there on the top, we should be able to deliver that suction hose all the way down to the bottom lowermost part of the tank to really get that water and sediment out. We hope that it will travel up the hose. We hope that it will be trapped here inside of this Raycor where we can eliminate it, drain it, get it out of there. And this pump is going to do all the work. This is a brand new pump for us. We want to know how well does it work. Is it going to be able to pump at its stated capacity or not? We're going to pump it first into this 5-gallon can. We're going to time it, how long it takes to fill this thing, and then we'll know the pumping rate. Once this thing is full, we can just put it right back into the fill for whichever tank we took it out of. Hopefully it's all perfectly clean fuel. We started to crack open the top of the fuel sending unit to start drawing fuel from here to polish it. And the tank is so full that the fuel started seeping out of the screw head. So that tells me it's way too full to open right now. So Mel's idea, a great one, was to pull 5 gallons of fuel out through the fill pipe to take some of the pressure off here before we open up the top of the tank. So that's what we're gonna do.
Coop is opening the sending unit for our main gas tank. Tell me why you're not using a power tool.
Because we don't want to throw sparks. Even though it is a brushless drill, it's not intrinsically safe, which means it doesn't throw any spark at all. Just being abundantly cautious here, we're gonna just use hand tools.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna open this fuel tank up for the first time since Al Capone sealed it.
Shut up, stupid.
I can disconnect. This is a weird connector for this fuel thing. It looks like an old iron, a cord from an old iron from the 60s or something.
Is there not a clip? Ah, there it is.
I don't want to lose this cord. Is it gonna just sit right here? Yes, okay. All right.
Do you need paper towels?
That's it though. That's the fuel sending unit. Pretty basic. Just a float. All right, so we're also going to inspect the tank for any kind of corrosion that could have happened. Luckily, we have an aluminum tank, so we should be in pretty good shape, but you never know. There could be holes, there could have been corrosion, there could have been water seeping into the tank that would have caused, oxidation in the aluminum that would be affecting the quality of the fuel. So this filter here is rated at 60 gallons per hour, and the pump itself is rated at 85. So the pump is pulling pretty hard through here, but this should help us get through a 150-gallon tank pretty quickly. Show me the luxury face of boat ownership.
I'm going to drain some possibly fuel, possibly a little bit of water from the VST, the vapor separator tank. And the way to do that is through this little hose and this little screw here. So I'm just gonna loosen it. So retake.
And cut.
Okay. Now you can do it.
Oh yeah, you can see it separating already.
Yeah.
Just hold it up to the light like that.
Oh, right there, right?
Yeah, definitely water in the bottom. That's mostly water with a thin layer of fuel on top.
So I'm going to take off the primary fuel filter for the engine. It should just be hand tight. And it's not.
So, yeah, it's the power supply to the float switch in there. Yep.
Okay. All right. Really pays to have small hands on this. Okay. Oh, look at the debris. Okay, this is the old filter.
Yep.
I'm gonna put a new filter on.
No, we're not.
All right.
We just that one's new. It's never been run any extensive amount of time. We just wanted to look for debris in there. We wanted to double check for any water and to make sure that the switch is reset, the float switch. Let's show the float switch inside of here. That's the float switch inside of there. If you get water inside of this filter, it causes that black disc there to float up on top of the water and eventually makes a connection with the inside the cap that makes that light come on your Yamaha engine gauge to let you know you've got water in the fuel. Definitely important. Yeah, just a quick inspect on it.
Getting all my screw ups. Okay, that's good. That's connected. All right.
That's it.
Before we start the engine, we have to pump the fuel bulb, right, to make sure there's fuel in there.
Yeah, that will force fuel through the system. This is the first place that fuel hits the outboard. This is the first place fuel hits the outboard. And then from here, it goes through another filter. Well, it goes through the pump, the low pressure pump. And then from the low pressure pump through another filter before it gets into the VST tank. With our Yamaha F200XB, the goal right now is to replace this fuel pump. Project as we're continuing to clean our fuel system is we're going to replace the fuel pump that's behind this panel right here. We have a brand new Yamaha, correct part number in here. Interestingly, it is a Yamaha genuine part, but it's got some other manufacturer's name on it. We're going to start off with a 10mm wrench to take the cover off. It's gonna. I said 10mm wrench. I meant socket. This little guy. Our fuel pump is exposed now. We're gonna have to take the bracket off that holds it in place. We're gonna disconnect the fuel line from the top and the fuel line from the bottom, unbolt it in these 4 spots, and the whole thing will come off and we can pop the new one in. I'm gonna disconnect the power supply to the fuel pump, which is right down here. The wires come off the top of the pump, but they actually route down to the bottom. So this is where we'll disconnect these two. Pretty simple. And now disconnecting the fuel at the top and the bottom, just a set of pliers. Got this crimp fitting here. I've got my bucket ready to go for any fuel that comes out. I can dump it right into the bucket. I mean, fuel is going to come out. It's just so that guy up and out of the way. So I'll just go from the top first. All right. So once it breaks free, I can feel it moving. I'm gonna get ready with my fingers to hold each of these closed because they're both gonna want to let go. Well, maybe not. Not that one. This one definitely has fuel in it. I'm gonna show this. So now, oh, there it is. Well, so this is the fuel pump that hasn't gone bad yet, but the other fuel pump went bad probably because we were pumping water and stuff through it. So we're changing this one preemptively because we know it's a good chance it could fail. It's a very personal choice, you know, whether you fix things before they break or you wait until you're 5 miles offshore and then all of a sudden you lose an engine because your fuel pump went bad. Now we got to take the fuel pump out of the holder. So it's just 2 more 10mm screws. I'm going to keep these separate because I don't want to confuse them. These look too similar to the 3 to take the cover off. I don't want to confuse them. All right, and so this plate just sort of hooks in there. And then these rubber bands we have to take off of this old one to put it on the new one. And then the electrical wire that runs down the back, I'm gonna have to wire tie this guy back in place as well. Yeah, so I'm making mental note of how this goes. Fuel coming out. So I'm actually gonna set it. I'm gonna set it like that so that I remember it's mounted correctly in the holder. Open up the new one. Again, this is a Yamaha part. When I take it out of the bag, it's a Walbro. So whatever. So now I'm gonna move these rubber bands, or say the other. Right, about the same spot. I would guess these, not only do they hold it in place, they probably also dampen the vibration from the engine. So here's the old one. We're done with this. Now we can start rigging this one back into the, so remember that we need our wire tie in place. you go. And trim that guy off. And then the wire. All these little cable routing things are so important because they keep the cable from bouncing around and chafing places that you don't want them to. Now we can, let's see, put our, okay. And this goes back on.
There you go.
Son of a gun. Yamaha obviously feels it's important to change out these hose clamps. I'm going to take these old ones off, and what, admitting our mistakes here, is when I changed the fuel pump on the other outboard, I didn't realize that these hose clamps were a different size. I had to go back and switch them. But the silver one is slightly larger than the black one. The silver one is going to go on top because the outside diameter of the hose up here is larger. What's cool about them is that they have them sort of they put this little red clip on here. Let me get this out of the package. When they give it to you in the package, this little red clip is on here that holds it wide open so it slides easily right up on. And then we'll do the same with the, keep all this straight. Okay, there's the new one, the old one. Oh, we can tell which one is the new one because it has the little
Clip on it.
retaining clip to help it stay open. Yeah, so change those. It comes with the pump. You don't have to buy it extra. Just put it on there. I want to put the rubber booty back over the top, sort of probably a splash guard for the electrical connections. You know that's all the way down when it fits behind the nut. Okay, and then now I also need to put these mounts back in. So these, you guys didn't see me take them off, but they go in between the rubber grommets, the vibration dampeners. In from the back side. Now, take the plastic cap off. Seat this thing. Oh, no, wait. All right. And now, what's this? Then you just, once this is in the right spot, just pull this guy off and it's, boom, locked in place. I'll do the same at the bottom. And then we're going to hook the electrical power back up. A simple connection. And now we can line it up to put those 4 screws back on that are over here in the cup. There are the POV. We always start these bolts by hand. We don't cross thread. That's probably good. This is awkward. I'm using the socket to help get these hand tight. Sort of evenly hand tight all the way around. It's one of those universal principles. Whenever you're tightening multiple bolts, especially when there's a gasket involved, which there's no gasket here right now that we're worried about, but when you want to uniformly tighten something, you tighten all of them just a little bit at a time. Then you go to the opposite side, screw diagonal, and tighten them, and that's it. Just double check them all. And that's it. Our fuel pump is installed. So we're going to double check that it was reconnected. Oh, we have one more little wire. This basically replaces a wire tie to hold these wires together from bouncing around too much. You can see it here. It just clips in place. That's it. Goes back on. So that's it. The fuel pump is done. It's in. The one thing we know that this fuel pump should now be ready to pull fuel all the way from the tank through the primary filter, which Mel just checked for debris and water, made sure that was clear. So once we put the new fuel filter, fuel water separators in the boat, it should, and we know the tanks are clean now because we just polished all that fuel. We know we've got clean fuel all the way up until this point. And we even drained the VST, so there's no water in there. What we didn't do is get to the filter inside of the VST, and that's something that may be within our capability later, but Yamaha tells you that a service tech should be the one to do that. So
You give me that mallet. Here's our bilge area before. We took out old oil tanks that we don't need anymore. We took out the batteries. We're replacing the battery charger right there. But before we do that, we're going to clean this area up while we've got everything out of the space. So just so you can see how gross this is. And we're going to clean up the wires and try to organize them a little bit better. But yeah, this is the before.
what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just spraying the shit out of it with Purple Power degreaser. I'm just spraying it.
Retreating?
Pre-treating, yeah, that's it. That's the word. From the single.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just talk to me real quick. Tell me what you're doing.
I'm gonna make magic happen. That's what I'm gonna do. Magic, pure magic.
Oh my God, it's so gross. Oh, it's so good though. Oh, look at it. It's so filthy. This thing parked in a mud puddle. Somebody gave it an internal mud bath. It's so good. Oh my God. It's where the old oil tray, oh, hang on. This is where the old two-stroke oil tanks were. Shoot.
Super clean.
So we need to fill those holes.
Oh, on the bottom here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, and we're replacing this charger. But all in all, it came out really clean.
You'll see down here in the battery space, we took all of the batteries out, and that's because we have a bad battery charger. Not the battery charger on the outboard, but just the battery charger that comes in from the shore power. We pulled all those batteries out because that also made it easier for us to get in there to clean our bilges. Our bilges were filthy. There was probably 25 years of grime in here. We had old cabling and we had old oil lines in there that needed to be removed. So we did that. Moving further across, you can see we took the sink out so that we could access more easily our battery charger, which is here. And these are the two old two-stroke oiling tanks that we put them back in there just so you can see where they were. We've already pulled these out, and what a project that was. Not only getting into them, but also finding the old mounting trays were rusted out, finding that they were still full of oil, which we had to get into containers so we can take it to be recycled. And now these old things can come out. No longer need those because we have proper four-stroke engines. And now we have this massive open space here. We have access to the bilge. We have access to some of our through-hole fittings, which we realized are probably due for a change. Those will be projects for future episodes. But right now, this is really exciting because our space is clean, our bilges are clean, and we can change our battery charger and fill all these holes.
So, did you lose this? Is this part of the GoPro?
Yeah, it is. Okay. That's the cover for the light.
All right.
This is a quick before video. You can see that we've removed the old fuel water separator system. It was mounted on the shelf, the battery shelf there. Everything is deleted between the cutout valves and the fuel bulbs. We're going to replace all of the lines and replace the water separator.